Hi everyone, welcome to the last lecture, week 12. And this is a second class meeting talking about the film Parasite. And group 15, only one group made a presentation this week. Thank you group 15 members for your presentation. So let's start with group 15's presentation. The presentation has a good introduction, good PowerPoint slides, and it was good, well delivered verbally, and editing was good with some movie clips. But I think the conclusion could be more relevant to the three connections, and having decent sized windows for the presenters' faces was nice, but one window per section might have worked better because only one of you are talking in each section, and having the others in big sizes, it's like a little bit distracting. It can be a little bit distracting. And it has a good transition work. The reaction section was excellent with a good selection of adjectives and two things learned. Section was well done and great discussion questions and answers. And three connection sections were also really well done. And the external resources were incorporated in the three connection section, and was, even though it was not a separate section, standalone separate section, these external resources were well incorporated, and it was clearly highlighted what sources were and how the relationships were. And it included a good division of labor and the reference section. Thank you again for your excellent job, group 15 members. So for the lecture part, this week it's not gonna be very long, but the director of Parasite, he made this statement at the 2020 Golden Globes acceptance speech for best foreign language film. Said once you overcome the 1-inch barrier of subtitles, you will be introduced to so many more amazing films. That's what he said at the award ceremony, right? And he preferred subtitles over dubbing for Parasite for a non-Korean audience, because he believed that using American English voices would diminish the message and nuances of the Korean language, right? So he didn't like the dubbing idea. He insisted subtitles. And then why subtitles even a barrier, right? Because of this traditional resistance to subtitle content in Western markets, right? So people didn't like, they used to not like foreign content with subtitles, because it's like more work maybe. And so that's also the Hollywood marginalization of non-English content. Like in Hollywood, if the film is made in non-English, it was marginalized, right? But then things are changing, right? Viewers' preferences are changing. So more recently, there's a strong preference for subtitles over dubbing in UK and US, especially among younger generations, younger audiences. They prefer original language with subtitles. And one survey says 76% of Gen Z or millennials watch foreign language content with subtitles, right? So how about you guys? Do you like dubbed foreign content, or do you like subtitled foreign content with the original language? Maybe you belong to this 76% of this young population. And also in terms of this globalization of this non-English content, we cannot discuss that without the role of Netflix, right? So Netflix made a huge role in this globalizing this foreign language, non-English language content, right? So since 2019, there was 71% increase in non-English content viewership through Netflix, right? And by the expectation is by 2030, 50% of the European streaming content on Netflix could be non-English content by this year, right? So Netflix is contributing, globalizing this non-English content globally, right? And let's focus on Parasite, the film Parasite role in industry transformation, right? In terms of this language barrier issues, right? So it changed the perception of foreign films in award ceremonies, and by calling out Hollywood condescending treatment of foreign language films. It used to be not treated well, and there was a special category for foreign films, but Parasite won the Best Film Award overall, right? So but it opened the door for non-Western cinema and legitimized foreign films alongside Hollywood blockbusters. And Bong Joon-ho's closing remarks was, I think we use just one language, which is the cinema, you know. So it's like highlighting the film or cinema can transcend linguistic barriers. It doesn't matter what kind of languages the film is made, but the language of film or language of cinema can, touch a lot of people, right? And lastly, I just want to highlight the role of Korean cinema in fostering cross-cultural understanding, right? So through its own industry revolution, there was a shift from state censorship to cultural renaissance since the late 1990s. We talked about when we watched the film Shuri, right? That was the signaling, that was the beginning of the Korean film renaissance. Before Shuri, Korean films were not doing really well. But then with Shuri, more Korean more Korean audience started watching Korean domestic films, right? And the Korean film industry transformed from local to global storytelling. And so its approach is working really well, right? By strategically blending Korean cultural element with universal themes like a Parasite, right? As an example. So it breaks this, 1-inch barrier of subtitles, or it breaks the language barriers, or it contributes to breaking the language barriers, right? And showing that universal storytelling can transcend language differences or barriers, right? In terms of cultural impact, Korean cinema in general, and also Parasite in specific, facilitates understanding of Korean society and values. So the non-Korean audience, by watching Korean films, they can better understand Korean society, people, and values, right? And it also the Korean cinema opens doors for non-Western cinema globally. So this particular Korean film can make it globally. Other non-English films can make it globally as well, right? So it can contribute to creating pathways for mutual cultural understanding and establishing new models for cultural exchange. So this is it for today's lecture. And for your final project, according to the updated guidelines, the word limit or word count or time limit, it doesn't include your reflections and division of labor and the references, right? So those are like appendixes separately, right? So please pay attention to the new guidelines, okay? And thank you for your attention.